Well, good morning. This is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant morning. And the new issues of Druthers have just come in. And this front piece, this essay, is so absolutely brilliant. I am going to read it to you verbatim. And it's headed, "War is the worst thing in the world." And it is absolutely a disaster for the average person, anybody in the military. There is no upside. There is no upside for anybody in a regular walk of life. The only people that it benefits are those who own and invest in the military-industrial complex and maybe the military intelligence complex, and they, of course, are making hay, as we speak. But for you and I, for a soldier, that your best option is that you come back with all your fingers and all of your toes, and you didn't see something so horrific that you will be emotionally scarred for the rest of your life. I mean, it's absolutely stunning that we are still engaging in these practices and that we all collectively agree to go along with this program. I mean, it is absolute insanity. And like I say, I don't mean to insult anybody in the armed services by making this video, because as I say, you included, you will not benefit from a wartime situation. And I can absolutely agree to the need to having some kind of trained military personnel for internal emergencies, where you have a group of men and women who can be moved quickly from place to place if there is floods, fires, whatever it is. So it's not about getting rid of the military, because we still do need these incredibly well-trained people. What we don't need is war, because it is so unproductive. And I'm so disappointed when I look around the world today and I see so much conflict taking place. It seems like every country on the face of the earth, certainly the major countries, are engaged in some kind of serious conflict which has no good ending economically, personally, as far as our society is concerned, and it really doesn't do us credit as a civilization. Okay, so I'm just going to read this for you, and we'll come back and I'll do a very quick wrap-up, because it's probably about a 15-minute read. Okay, here we go. War is the worst thing in the world, by Caitlin Johnstone. War is the worst thing in the world. It is the single craziest behavior exhibited by humans, the most destructive, the most traumatizing, the least sustainable, the least conducive to human thriving. All the things we fear most become the norm in land ravaged by war. Death, pain, suffering, rape, chaos, uncertainty, losing loved ones, losing homes, losing limbs, living in terror, being attacked, being brain damaged, being faced with impossible choices. All the things we frighten ourselves with by watching horror movies become a reality from which there is no escape. War creates a waking nightmare which any sensible person would want to avoid, except in the direst necessity. And yet we are ruled by people who actively seek it out, who will lie and manipulate to make wars happen, who will smear and slander anyone who resists in the name of peace, who will actively fight against every healthy impulse in everybody in their society to push their war agenda forward. They always tell us a new war they want us to fight is about self-defense, or about liberating an oppressed population from a tyrannical dictator, or about preventing terrorism, or about spreading freedom and democracy. Usually they tell us it's about all of these things. But it never is. They are always lying. Always. They are pushing human beings into the worst circumstances they could possibly experience here on Earth for no other reason than power and profit, to advance the hegemonic agendas of empire managers and to fill the coffers of war profiteers. That's all it ever is. Always, always, always. They say whatever they need to say and move whatever chess pieces they need to move to get their war, and then they send a bunch of poor suckers to go fight in it, lying to them that they are doing something noble and heroic. They ship them off to a foreign land and then they are trapped. They can't flee into the wilderness because they don't know how to survive and have no way of getting home. They can't ask the locals for help because the locals are their victims. They have no choice but to either fight and kill people who have never wronged them or lay down their arms and be caged like animals. If they choose to fight, the best case scenario is that they spend the rest of their lives knowing they killed other human beings who just wanted to live just as much as themselves and who had just as much right to. All because some people who already had far too much power wanted a little bit more. It is the most insane and backward thing you can possibly imagine. The most powerful individuals in our world are people who actively push for the absolute worst outcomes that could possibly happen. It's the exact opposite of the way things should be. Yet we are told it's normal. We are trained to believe this is just the reality we live in, which we should expect and accept, first by our parents and teachers, and then by our news media and by Hollywood. War is aggressively normalized by pundits, propagandists and politicians, and enthusiastically glorified in movies and documentaries. Those who are forced or duped into fighting in these insane arrangements of mass-scale violence are framed as heroes, and anyone who disagrees with what they were sent to do is framed as disrespectful and ungrateful. Those who push for peace are framed as treasonous freaks who must surely have covert loyalties towards whatever government the empire is trying to target this time around. Those who suggest that there might be some solution apart from war are dismissed as infantile dreamers. And once the war has started, it's almost impossible to stop. The entire political media class treats the war as the new normal, and any suggestion that it's time to wrap things up is regarded as outlandish and suspicious. It's never time to end the war, because this or that objective has not been achieved, or because this or that faction might come into power if troops are pulled out, or because this or that disempowered group might suffer without our military there to protect them. Ending a war is as difficult as beginning a war is easy. All the institutions that lined up perfectly to help get the ball rolling towards war suddenly transform into giant tar pits of inertia when it comes to ending the conflict. The war makers say that the war must continue for this or that reason. The politicians back the war makers, the media back the politicians, and the people saying it's time to end the madness are left standing there looking like they're the crazy ones. But they're not the crazy ones. The ones pushing us towards war are crazy. This whole system is crazy. This whole civilization. The ones resisting the push towards war are the ones fighting for sanity. They're the ones who are trying to reverse the tide of madness and drag us into a healthier world. If this is you, do not falter. Do not let the warmongers shout you down or shut you up. You are right, and they are wrong. Let your voice thunder with confidence. Let nothing cause you to waver. Blessed are the peacemakers, and don't let anyone trick you into doubting what you know to be true. Thank you so much, Caitlin. So I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, and that you will please take heed, because it is only through our direct withdrawal. You know, you don't have to argue about this, you don't have to get involved in any kind of a fight, you just have to withdraw your consent. It's as simple as that, folks. Withdrawing your consent to go along with anything that promotes this kind of behaviour, because it simply is not in our best interests. Okay, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe below, and in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve, wishing you a very pleasant morning, and we'll talk very, very shortly. You take care now. See ya. Bye.